Hi everyone, it's craftytinas. Today's video is going to show you how to make envelopes using the We Are Memory Keepers Works board. Now, if you're like me and you've been around paper crafting a long time, you probably have a envelope punch board that's standalone. I bought the Works board to put in the camper because it's an all-in-one and I wouldn't have to take multiple items with me, but I have learned to like this board quite a bit. For the envelopes, if they're large ones, I kind of enjoy this punch better because it is a deeper punch than this little guy. But it's starting to grow on me, and I have a friend who wanted to make a large envelope, and she needed a little help, so I told her I'd make a video because I had planned on it anyway. So I'm going to show you how to use the Works board to make envelopes using the chart and all the features this board has to offer. Now, when you're making envelopes, and I made the two of the smallest size it lists on purpose. This is exactly the same envelope, but I chose to leave this flap open as opposed to this one. Even though this is for a 3x3 card, one side is longer than the other on purpose, so you can add a 3x3 card. You just simply stick it in the side, and I never have sirens in the background, sorry, so that you can stick your 3x3 card in and still have a little room in case you have embellishments. So this side is longer than this side. You can put your card in, even though it's a card, you can put it in any way you want. So it all comes down to which flap you leave open to close it with. If you leave the top one open, it looks like this. If you leave a side one open, it is a longer envelope. Other than that, it is the exact same size, holds the same size card. Today, we're going to make two envelopes. This was my requested size. It is 6.5 by 8. Now, when I say 6.5 by 8, I mean the card going inside is 6.5 by 8, not the envelope 6.5 by 8. So when you're looking at your chart, so that you know where to start, it says card size. In this case, 6.5 by 8 card size is way down here. You start with a piece of paper that's 11 by 11. I don't recommend cardstock unless you specifically want your envelope to be super thick and stiff. Paper usually works better. Once you know the size of your card, not the size of your finished envelope, you then can look to see what size paper you need to start with. And then your alignment guide is a number, and that's here. These are your alignment guides, even though it doesn't say that on here. You can read the directions on the back if you wish. It's going to be the same directions that I'm going to show you. However, they're not quite detailed enough. If you've never made an envelope, this is going to be super confusing. So watch this video a couple times if you have to, and then this will make sense. So this is found on the back of your board. It simply is put here to hold it for you, which I really like. I like when they have onboard tools. But you need this to make envelopes, tags, and banners. Today's video is just on envelopes, but we are going to get to other items. I do have a simple tag video that shows you how to make tags. I haven't done the banners on a video yet. Today's video is just on envelopes. We're going to do the requested size first. Her card is 6.5 by 8. So the paper size needs to be 11 by 11. Basically, we're going to have to start with a piece of paper that is 11 by 11. So we have to go with our 12 by 12 paper. We're going to open the board up. This allows us to go past the 7. We're going to take our 12-inch paper and we're going to cut it down to 11 inches. Now you're going to be super tempted to throw this 1-inch strip away. Save it because you can make paper bows. You can make bands for your cards. There's a lot of things you can make with a 1-inch piece of especially 12-inch paper. And this happens to be double-sided. It's not white on the back, so don't throw this away. We will do other videos on scraps one day because I have a drawer full and there are so many things you can do with scraps. We're going to cut the other side to 11 inches. So you've got another 1-inch strap. Hang on to that. Now we have the starting paper, and this is how your punch board knows the finished size. By the paper you're starting out and the alignment number, which is 5. So we can close this now. And we need to put this on our board. We need to take the envelope arrow and match it to the envelope arrow on the board, which is the 3-inch mark. That arrow fits inside the little notches at 3 inches. Now you're going to be tempted to think that once it's down here, it's good. You're not, you won't move it or anything. You can. You can knock this, even though there's a magnet in here holding it. It is not totally sturdy. You need these lines to be straight. So I need you to put it in the grooves, all of them. It needs to be flush to the top of your board. It's very important to make your lines correct, or when you fold your envelope, it's going to be all cattywamped. It's not going to look good. And you need it to be the right size to put your card inside. So we know that our alignment number is 5. I'm going to open this. We are not cutting, and we are also not flipping this over to the score. We are simply leaving it like it is, but I don't want to accidentally cut, so I'm opening this up so I won't be tempted. You may want to put your blade all the way up here so that you're not putting your hand in it. Because our alignment number is 5, we're going to take a corner, any corner, and we're going to put it to the 5. You're going to take your, well, I didn't even get it out. On board is also your little scoring tool, so you're going to take that. We're going to line up one corner to 5. I'm actually going to flip this over to the plain side because you'll be able to see my scoring lines better. Doesn't matter what side you score on, when you're ready to fold your envelope, that's when it makes a difference. So at the 5, we're going to line up the bottom of the page. This is the corner at 5. You're then going to take your scoring tool and go to 2, which is right up against this blue. You're going to go to 2, and if it helps, put it in that groove. And see, I just moved my hand, so holding it onto the guide, you're going to score at this 2 all the way down. That is the last time you're going to use that number 5. So don't use the 5 again. You're then going to turn your paper clockwise till you see the scoring line going horizontal. You're going to match up the score line with the score guide. It has a little arrow, a line, and a little notch. So my score line is here, and it is lined up with that little notch. As you can see, it is no longer lined up with the 5. That is why I said that first mark is the last time you're going to use the numbers. Once you have this scoring line lined up horizontal with this little notch, you're going to, again, using the 2-inch mark, comes right beside the blue, you're going to go straight down all the way. You're then going to turn your paper clockwise again. You should probably say to the right. Nobody ever uses clocks with hands on it anymore, so I might lose the younger generation saying clockwise. I'm putting the horizontal line I just made into that little notch again. I'm not going to show you that. I was going to tell you that the paper now lines up to the 5. And the reason is this envelope is not square, it is a rectangle. So this size is the same as this size, so it does line up to the 5. But I don't want you guys to think about that. Only think 5 for the very first score. So I'm lined up to the horizontal scored line with the score guide. Go back to the 2, you're always using that 2, and putting another score line. We're going to turn it to the right or clockwise, bringing the score line we just made to the score guide. We're going to put it in the 2 and bring it all the way down again. Now, if you can see this, we have a rectangle, and we have little triangles at each intersection. I'm hoping you guys can see that. We have a score line that comes off the paper and a score line that comes off to the paper. So we have a triangle right here. Now we're going to come down to the envelope punch, and ignore my tape. I had it marked for a reason, and I don't remember why, but I don't want to take it off because I think it was important. We are going to punch, using this, the triangles. You're going to put it into the punch. You're not using this punch. This is a circle. You're just putting the paper underneath it to have it on a flat, even surface. You're gonna match up that notch. There's a little notch that sticks out. You're gonna match it up to the score line going in this direction. Once it is matched up, you'll notice that this score line is also matched up with the envelope punch board. So that V is exactly in the V cutout, but the most important thing is this little foot, or little knobby stick thingy, gets lined up with the score line, and you punch. And that is what you see. The score line goes directly to the inside of this little cutout. So it doesn't matter which way you turn your paper, because you're going to do all 4 the exact same way. You're going to put it back in there. The little foot that sticks out lines up with the score line. Punch. And turn it to the other page, other side of the page. You're going to do all 4 of these intersections where the scoring line meets. And you're going to put it in again with the little foot lining up with the score line, and punch. Now we have 4 punches. Now it's starting to look more like an envelope. We have our rectangle here, and we have our flaps. Now we are going to round all 4 corners using the rounder side of the envelope punch. You simply put the corner inside and punch, and all it does is barely round it. If you guys remember the old envelope punch boards, the one I showed you a few seconds ago, it punched a really rounded edge. But this is a smaller punch. I really wish they would have made this the same size as this one. I know it would have taken up a lot more space, but this is a nice rounding, and it's a deeper cut for the intersections. But I think they were trying to conserve some space and try to get us something smaller, because I know that crafters have the biggest problem is trying to store all this craft stuff. So now I have my rectangle, which is the size of my envelope. I have all my 4 corners rounded. Now I can do my envelope. Here's your first question to ask yourself. Do you want the outside of the envelope to be this solid blue, or do you want the outside of your envelope to be the printed blue? It does not matter, but this is the point where you have to make that decision. If you are gifting it, you can have beautiful colored paper wherever you want. If you're mailing it, you may consider having the white on the outside and the color on the inside for when they open it. If you're going to mail it like this, make sure you put a nice white sticker address label on here to help the mail people get it where it's going. But if you're handing it to someone, you could make this all nice and fancy and leave the pretty paper on the outside. For this one, I'm going to leave the pretty paper on the outside. So this is going to be my outside. So I want it on the bottom. Once I know what side I want, now I need to decide if I want it to be horizontal are vertical, meaning do I want my flap to open on the shortest side or the longest side? And that's all going to depend on how you want them to take the card. This is on the longest side because it's like a normal envelope. You're going to take your card out like this. I could have had the flap here to take my card out like this. A lot of options. This is kind of standard. So I'm going to leave it this way. I'm going to fold each of the sides in on that score line. And normally I just do it with my hands, you guys. You need to use the scoring tool for something like this. That needs to be a crisp fold. You're going to do the other side. And you're going to do the bottom. Now comes the part where you need to glue or double side tape the envelope. Before you do, take into account, is your card thick or thin? Is there a lot of embellishments on it? Do I need extra space? And the reason I say that is because my cards are never thin. I put all kinds of stuff on my cards. So say your card had a lot of layers to it. If it does, put it in the envelope face down, so all your pretty stuff's back here. And then, and if you don't trust yourself gluing, put a piece of paper on top of that. And then glue it. Because then you're going to leave a little gap that will hold your embellishments. Like if you put some really pretty flowers and stuff on your cards and they're thick, you want to leave a little extra space. If your card is more flat, then you don't have to worry about putting your card in before you seal up your envelope. So you can use glue, glue stick, double-sided tape, anything you want for this. Because this is a large envelope and this goes beyond this side, I'm going to put my adhesive here. And you don't want the adhesive to be stuck to the back. You don't want to seal up your envelope before you even get done. So I'm simply putting adhesive here and here so that I can fold this flap up. Okay, now you have this little pointy thing here. You have options. You can cut it off, just cut straight across, or I like to fold it, add some adhesive, and then using my fold line, fold it inward. To me, it gives it a little cleaner edge, a cleaner look. It's not necessary, but I don't want anything to distract the recipient when they're trying to take their card out, and that little point bothers me. So I simply took it out. Now you fold this over, and you have your envelope that is made for a 6.5 by 8 card. That's a beautiful size card. So thank you, Heidi, for your request on a large envelope. It gave me an opportunity to hurry up and make the envelope. Don't go anywhere because I'm going to show you how to make another envelope. This is the 6.5 by 8. That does not mean this is 6.5 by 8. This is larger. This is over 6 and slightly over 8. It's so that you have a little extra room. And if you get adhesive on your paper, make sure you use your finger. The oils in your finger will get it off. It allows you to have plenty of room in this envelope so that you can have room to get it in and out so that it's not snug. Now, let's do another one. I want to show you what you can do when your paper is two-sided. Now, usually we have paper with white, or we have paper with a solid color on the other side. These make nice envelopes. No matter what, they really do make nice envelopes. But if you happen to have paper that is two-sided, look what fun you can have with that. So I'm going to take this piece of paper and we're going to make an envelope. This is a, I don't remember what they call this card, but it is 5 by 6.5. I buy card blanks, so that's how big my cards are. is 5 by 6.5. So this is the envelope for making a 5 by 6.5. And we're going to make it. First thing we're going to do is we're going to look at our chart and we're going to find the 5 by 6.5. It is telling me I need an 8 by 7/8 by 8 7/8, and that my adjustment guide is a 3 7/8. So 8 by 8 7/8 by 8 7/8. We're going to open this up, and I'm going to cut my inch off of this side because I want to leave this fun stuff here. Again, we're going to keep that scrap, and I'm going to cut it off this side. We're going to 11 inches. We're cutting off an inch. Now I have, not paying attention to my own directions. We are trying for a 5 by 6.5, so we need 8 by 7/8. So once again, let's pay attention to go to 8 by 7/8. How many of you were screaming, "You're cutting it wrong, you're cutting it wrong," because I could hear you. Thank you. So 8 by 7/8. 8 7/8. There we go. So you guys notice that we start out with a square piece of paper, but we end up with a rectangle envelope. And it's all about the way we are using our adjustment guide and our score lines. So we're going to close this back. We're going to put this back in here under envelope. And it told us to do 3 7/8 is our adjustment guide. Again, I'm going to open this up and move it out of the way. I am going to put this on, it told us 3 7/8. We're going to put this, the corner gets lined up to 3 7/8. The only score line we use is the 2. And I'm going to do it twice, only so that it's a very dark color paper. I want you guys to be able to see the score lines, and I need to be able to see that score line to line it up, because remember, it no longer matches, and you don't want to use the measurements. You're wanting to use the score lines. That is the important part of the envelope punch board. We're going to keep turning to the right using the score line. We also want to make sure the paper is up against the edge of this. That keeps us on track and gets us where we want to go. We're going to use that score line. Again, straight down. Now I have, and it's super hard for you guys to see, I have 4 score lines. There's my rectangle. I have the little intersection ones, and that's going to show me where to punch. We're going to come over here to our envelope punch. We are going to line up that little foot. I've decided we're going to call it a foot. That foot gets lined up to my score line, and I'm going to punch on all 4 sides using the little foot. If you have dark paper like this, you can feel it with your finger to get it lined up. You just want to make sure that punch is lined up properly. That will give you the right place to fold your envelope closed. And we're going to do all 4 sides, lining up our foot. Now we have our envelope look. You can choose to have whatever color you want on the inside and whatever color you want on the outside. So if we were to fold this right now, we would have these crayons in the bottom right-hand corner, and we would have these crayons on the flap. If we were to choose to have this on the inside, we wouldn't see the box of crayons, but when we open this up, we would see the crayons spilling out. So it's a tough call. I don't know if I want that side or this side. I think I'm going to go with the red on the outside. So we're going to fold we didn't do our corners. Guess I need another cup of coffee. We're going to punch every corner to make them rounded so that they're not pointy. It just gives it a cleaner look. It makes it look more professional and kind of more like a store-bought envelope. Now we're back in business. I noticed it because when I went to flip this one up, that point just kind of stood out. It's like, oh no. So now I can still see my box of crayons, and it wraps around the envelope. Let me go ahead and close the flap here. It wraps, it just shows a little on the front, leaves me plenty of room to put a label, but it wraps around and shows it on the flap. So I thought that was really cute. Still shows my box, and then I have my crayons. And then when they open it up, it's like crayons are spilling everywhere. It's the little things, guys. So certain papers are going to make a very interesting envelope. So always check and see what you're going to want on the inside and on the outside. And we just simply put our adhesive here, and we folded this up, and now we have our envelope. This time I'm going to, well, I don't have scissors, so I'm going to just fold this in. And that kind of gives it a cleaner look, in my opinion. If you want to add adhesive so it doesn't fall back out, you can. You can also put adhesive on the other side, and you can fold that down this way and have that corner stay. That's the beauty of double-sided paper, but you can't always get the prints you want in a double-sided. But this makes a really cute envelope now because we have our corner with our crayons. It wraps around and comes onto our flap, and we show the box here and all the spilling crayons on the inside. And that is how we make our envelopes. This is the 5x6, just like this one. And again, this one had really pretty border on one side of my paper. So when I made it, it made a really pretty and interesting inside flap with a lot of yellow and all the bubbles on the outside. These two little guys were also double-sided paper. So they made a cute little envelope. This one has white on the inside, which you could have put the white on the outside if you prefer. And this one has just a solid color that matches the outside print. So no matter what happens, you're going to have some really interesting, never boring envelopes using the works by We Are Memory Keeper. Now keep in mind that these are the sizes. These are all the sizes it gives you. I am going to try to figure out this formula they got going on, because what if I want some sizes in between? And they only went up to 11 by 11 cardstock or paper, and I feel like they should have taken us all the way up to a 12 by 12 because that is the size paper that we can get. Again, love their tools, but sometimes they limit us. And we are crafters, so we are not going to stand for these limits, and we're just going to keep on crafting. So there you go, guys. Quick, easy, great ways to make envelopes. Heidi, I hope you understood the instructions I just gave. Thanks for requesting it. And as always, guys, make sure you like and subscribe. Join me on Facebook, and happy crafting.